Hi-de ho everyone, my name's Mr. Fruit, and welcome back to GG Over Easy episode 42. We are joined here by our wonderful guest, Professor Broman. You may or may not know him. You better. And if you don't, you're going to want to listen to what he has to say. A lot of really cool stuff. You're going to be inspired. You're going to be motivated, unless you're just like the cruelest person ever. But I don't know. Satan would himself be like, man, he's right. You know, I'm helping out.
He's running through this wall.
So you want to stay tuned. First, though, real quick, as always, we have a meme of the week.
Meme of the week. I mean, well, meme of the day, because this is
meme of the day.
out.
True. It's a special podcast, a little early because we have a charity event going on here soon. We wanted to let you all know about, which you'll hear more about later. But the meme of the day/week. It is from Kung Fu Panda. For video listeners, I'm just going to throw it up for a second. You'll get to see it. Which I find ironic because it's still not bringing Rob back.
It'd be true if skill-based matchmaking was Destiny 2's only problem. Let's just say that.
I thought it was funny. Everyone's like, yeah, can't wait to have Rob back. Ooh, well.
There's a lot more.
Maybe one day.
Just the skill-based matchmaking.
Maybe one day.
You have to wait a little bit longer.
Hey, the Falls page looks lit, though. I'll be there. I'll be there. You can catch me there.
But this is the GG Over Easy podcast, episode 42 of our nearly dozen episodes of guest-episodes. Kicking off segment with Professor Broman. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the GG Over Easy podcast. And like we just mentioned, because I'm time traveling and I know exactly what I just said in the intro, I should have probably, hopefully, introduced the man, the myth, the legend, Professor Broman.
For me,
below you. He's always gonna be below you.
Oh, always below. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, hi. How are ya? How you doing?
Hi,
hello.
That's you.
I am here.
He's right there.
He is here in the cyber flesh. We appreciate that.
In the cyber flesh, yeah.
Especially when you have plenty of going on, and we'll get to some of that here soon. You're a busy man. Yeah. Understandable. Just hearing some of the stuff when we've gotten to talk, I don't know how you do it. Drive me mad.
No, it's not. I mean, you know, I guess I'm half insane. I don't know. I always like having stuff to do, right? So
I feel that.
So
I will say this: you are definitely the best person to have the quality around you. Easily, by far, the best so far we've had on the podcast.
Oh yeah, crispy.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
looking nice. Warm tones. Big fan.
Yeah. That's.
I didn't even see the Infinity Gauntlet. My apologies.
Yeah, wow.
No, it's okay. No, we got that, and Yoda's hiding behind there. This is probably going to be going to someone in my chat really soon. I set up a 1 million channel points goal, and for the Infinity Gauntlet, right? I didn't have this when I started that. Everyone was like, "What do you do? What is that for?" And I was like, "You'll find out." And then one of my longtime viewers sent this to me. Yeah, no, he sent this to me. His name's Thanos, and so now when the first person to redeem that on my channel, I'm gonna sign that and I guess mail it to him. I guess sanitize, sign it, sanitize it, and then mail it to him.
Now, do you know approximately how much time someone would have to watch you to get 1 million channel points?
Since the channel points system launched, which I don't have the date off the top of my head. The highest channel points anyone in my channel has is 729,000.
Oh, wow.
Still a lot, but that's
quite a bit.
But that's still a journey.
That's since the beginning.
Yeah, only 3/4 of the way.
Yeah. So
that's going to be pretty high.
Be happening soon. Yeah.
And that's assuming they didn't spend any, right?
Yes.
That's assuming they haven't spent a single one at any point.
I have the person who has the most, I have never registered them spending channel points ever, and they are literally there before the stream starts every day.
They're like, I'm ready.
Shout outs.
I mean, that's the dedication you want, though.
Yeah, that's the realest.
No,
there's real people right there.
Squash is incredible, and I will be occasionally. I'll just be up here editing things, and I'll just see. Yeah, I'll see Squash type in chat. Hey, bro, man. Because see something change on my overlays or whatever. It's incredible. Squash is dedicated to getting this mitt.
Yeah. See, but you see people like that in your chat, and you're like, oh, that's them. That's my rockin' chat right there. That's the person that lets me know everything's gonna be okay this stream.
Dude, absolutely. That is. I was gonna say it's like my comfy sweater.
He's
You know?
your
I can put my hair up
stan.
now.
He is the stan. Well,
Has he
we
been
appreciate
watching
that.
for like a long so how long have you been partnered on Twitch?
Oh, partnered. I got partnered in August of 2013, I believe.
So that's like really soon, like in the partnership like kind of era, right?
Yeah. So when I got partnered, partnership didn't include a sub button. It just included the ability to get ads. Yeah.
Oh.
So I was one of the first. I was one of the first partners, one of the last partners to get partnered under that system, and then one of the first partners that was forced at the time to use a prefix for my emotes, because until then there were no emote prefixes on Twitch. So your emote, if your emote was like, doo-doo pants, like you
got
were
it.
the doo-doo pants emote on Twitch. That was it. No one else could say, no one else could have doo-doo pants. So then they introduced the prefix system so everybody could, actually have whatever emote they wanted.
I guess.
But yeah, it's been a while.
I hadn't even been watching Twitch to even think that wasn't a thing at one point.
Yeah, it was. I always thought it was weird because it seemed like, but I think it was because back then on Twitch, everything was done manually. Partnering a channel was like done manually. Adding
like
a
literally,
sub button
they're
was
like,
done manually.
flip the switch. He's like, yep.
Yeah, like there's someone in engineering would like go to your page and like add assets or change your dashboard backend or whatever the fuck. Yeah,
it sounds like an
thing.
absolute nightmare.
Oh yeah. I'm really glad that they used the internet to make systems for the
imagine that's still there
on the internet.
Do you remember what like requirements were to get partnered like then at all?
That was in the 500 concurrent viewers for partnership, 1,000 concurrent viewers, 1,000 concurrent viewers to get a sub button.
Oh my
wow.
God. That's
I mean, like there's some crazy stories. When I had Co-Carnage on my podcast with my brother like years ago, or he mentioned that like he was averaging like 1,100 viewers a stream, and they had to like start a petition to get him his sub button.
No
and he
way.
actually developed a website where people could leave and subscribe there, and the money would go directly to him. And he used that data to be like, look, Twitch, this is the money that you're not getting. Like, what is the problem?
Yeah.
I mean, if I was him, I would have kept doing it. That's a smart way to circumvent that pay cut.
He actually still has, I think it's called a website sub. I think it's like $2 a month. And this might be completely out of date. It's been a while since we talked. But you still like sub 2 months there. And there's like a whole like litany of things that you get for being a web sub on top of being a Twitch sub.
It's like Patreon before like Patreon was kind of like a thing.
100%. 100%. Yes.
Well, I respect that hustle.
That's big brain. Like,
oh, yes.
That is a business-oriented mind at work. You'll love to see it.
Truly.
And speaking of business-oriented minds, I would certainly say that's one of yours. And massive. It makes sense. That beautiful face has to have such a magnificent mind. Very ridged. I've heard your brain is very ridged.
No smooth brain.
No smooth brain. Yeah,
you got a lot of ridges on your brain, dude. Like
as far as the
nice brain, dude.
molecule can see.
Thanks for the
I want someone to
brain
animate this, and it's just like us cutting into his head. It's like, oh wow. Like,
yeah, no, absolutely.
So we have quite a bit to talk about, but let's start with every guest. We have to ask your lore story. So in this case, you don't have to go like, well, I was born on August. We don't need to hear it all the way from when you were born. But in the case where perhaps you were present in this online community, so however that started, I believe we've talked about this.
Yeah.
So I kind of know the story, but most of the people here probably don't know. So why don't you enlighten them and fill them in on some of the stuff that you're comfortable with?
Sure, yeah. So I started streaming relatively like late in my life, right? I know a lot of folks that are kind of full-time streamers right now. They got started when they are younger, like early 20s, maybe late teens, right? I got started when I was like 26, which was late.
I'm not even 26. Like to think about that, like yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I had a whole bunch of jobs before that. I went to college. I actually have 2 bachelor's degrees, and I went to a master's program as well, and I left that early. And so like I was kind of at a point where I was working minimum wage jobs in my life, and then I was up late one night on the internet. I was using StumbleUpon to like click through.
I love that site. Yeah.
That's OG internet.
This detail is thanks to my brother, who I forgot that this is how he found it. So I was just stumbling upon stuff, and it took me to a Twitch page where the speedrunning community was raising money for the victims of Hurricane Sandy. And I thought, holy shit, this is like really cool. I didn't know there was like a whole like retro gaming, playing through the games as fast as you can community, and they're like helping people. I said, I have to be part of this. So that's what led me to start streaming. I like almost immediately got like registered my account for the Speed Demos Archives forum, and I started. First game I worked on speedrunning was, and I never streamed this, but it was Saints Row 3. And then I started,
What's your PB? What's your PB?
It's like 5 hours and 30 minutes. It's a very long ass speedrun. I dropped it quick. There's no sequence breaks.
Punishing run.
No sequence breaks, man. Oh, it was just a headache. So that, and then I started streaming because I got involved with the Borderlands 2 community on there, and none of the folks that were working on runs was really streaming it. So I decided to stream it so we'd have a place to like meet. So that's how I got started. Fast forward, I achieved my goal. I started streaming in 2013. AGDQ, or Awesome Games Done Quick, 2014. I was part of the 4-player Borderlands speedrun and the 2 players, 1 keyboard and mouse Surgeon Simulator speedrun. And that sort of put me on the map for a lot of people. And so I had a pretty stable and strong community. I had about like 40,000 followers on Twitch. I had gotten my sub button. I'd sort of gotten to, I was already full time. And then Destiny came out. And Destiny came out, which is where a lot of people know me from. And it just blew up.
Seriously.
The game, it was a brand new IP from a storied AAA developer that had made one of the most iconic games of all time, and it felt like this opportunity to sort of like start a new community. And to, if I could have a voice there, I would try to make it a better place. And I met some other people who felt the same way. And you know them as my raid team that got world first in King's Fall. So,
Hey.
flex.
Do you have it?
I do. I have it. Yeah.
Now feel free to e-flex.
It's
Actually, it's right here.
I must have been placed it somewhere. Sorry, guys, can't show it to you.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Oh yeah, so
that's what I'd always say. If I had that, like, I get to say that whenever now.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna ride that like, hey, one time your grandpa was good at stuff.
That was King's Fall, right?
That's one hell of a raid to get raids for.
Yeah, that was a sick raid.
It was nuts, man. It was a very neck and neck race. But myself, King Cathalion, Char, Rebel Eyes, T-Rex, and Gunny, we all kind of met and we started, streaming together and doing all this other stuff. And yeah, I mean that's my history of streaming through my desire to continue to make the world a better place or complete insanity because I felt like I wasn't busy enough already. Throughout this, we also started a gaming convention, which is originally called Destiny Community Convention, and then it was called Guardian Con, so that we could embrace every game under the sun. And we thought that name was generic enough. The Destiny community decided it was not. And so because for 3 years we screamed in everyone's face, it's more than Destiny! And no one listened. We changed it to GCX because it's about the gaming community. So it's the Gaming Community Expo now. And so in doing that, we've raised $11.4 million for St. Jude in the 5 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely absurd. Yeah. That's been really fun. We've had 10,000 attendees come to our event last year. It's obviously not happening this year because of the
circumstances.
Pandemic. Yeah. And so we have that, and then I guess 2 years after we started that, we started our coffee company, And that's going really well. We're moving into a warehouse that
That's
we'll be able
awesome.
to produce everything out of for like the next 5 years. So we just
I
signed
saw
Wow.
the Islanders are like you have something with the Islanders. That is so cool.
yeah, we're the official coffee partners of the New York Islanders. Yeah.
That is
That is
so
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's the dream.
that happened because Pete and Wayne and Kevin are huge Islanders fans, and they did pretty much everything they could to get coffee into the players' hands.
yeah.
And that we make a coffee, so everybody was like, "Yay!" You know.
Yeah. Just kind of worked out like that. That's sick.
I wish I could try it, but I don't like coffee. So I'll take your
I
word for
respect
it.
that.
I'll take your word for it. Like, honestly, something about it just seems so warm and nice, and it sounds good, and then it enters my lips,
We're clearly in the
and I
minority.
regret it.
Like, because
I
like
love coffee.
my
What?
girlfriend loves it, and like loved the King's Coast that you guys sent. Like,
I love how Broman's like, yeah. So I made it. So we were working with this coffee company, and then she's like, I hate coffee. Coffee's the worst.
I
Why
know,
would you
I'm
talk
just-
about coffee?
But that's the
get it.
thing. I wouldn't have even thought about doing something like that because for
Yeah.
me, I don't like coffee. But then seeing you guys, I remember when you first launched it, and then seeing how successful you guys have come, and then like that for me too, it was really inspiring because with content creators, so many people have problems and issues trying to diverge from just content creation and trying to get their brand into something else. Like most of the times, it's merch. Or something pretty simple like that. They have a hard time breaking out somewhere else. But then you guys, I can't really think of anybody else who's just like, hey, we make we stream video games, and also we're gonna make a coffee company, and also it's really good and everyone likes it. So that's pretty awesome. And kudos on you. You've got that. Like between that, starting the expo, and then still finding time to stream. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know how
in
you
there
do
too. I mean, it is like it's to me. I don't know. I realize I do a lot, and it isn't until I have like sit down and have to explain everything I do that I'm like, oh yeah, shit. That's a lot of stuff.
Because like when we think about
I
it,
don't
it's
know.
like, I stream video games online, and then like when people ask what you do and you break it down, like Jesus, like it's a lot that.
Oh yeah.
oh, so you just get paid to play video games? That sounds so easy. Boy, I
very
tell
easy.
you what.
Now, bro, I have a question for you. When you switched from Borderlands to Destiny,
Ooh.
did you have to like tell your community, like, hey guys, like there's this new game coming? And because most Twitch chats are not about that. So like, was
Yeah.
that
It was a risky move.
Mhm.
Something that a lot of people don't know, because they do know me from Destiny, is that transferring to streaming Destiny, what ended up being full time, was like a massive risk. I actually lost half my sub base and half my viewership for like the first 3 weeks that the game was out. But I was super addicted to it, so I didn't care. I was like, whenever the addiction stops, I'll go back to speedrunning. It's not a fucking problem. I don't have a problem. But also like I sensed that opportunity, and I was like, this is a unique time. And if something can happen at the beginning of this game, it will probably turn into something bigger for me later down the line. So I was really committed to that. And my speedrunning only viewers fucking hated me for it. Sorry if I can't swear. I apologize.
No.
No. Okay. Yeah.
My virgin ears.
They hated me for it. I lost mods over that. I had people come in from like old regular viewers come in on like multiple alt accounts and like troll the living fuck out of me.
That's crazy.
It was really rough. And you have to remember, like, this was much earlier in the time of Twitch culturally. So like people weren't used to variety streamers. Everyone was sort of just tuning in to Twitch to watch one streamer play one game. It was like League of Legends. It was literally when I was streaming, it was like, why the fuck aren't you streaming League of Legends? That's what this website's
That
for,
is
you piece of
Twitch.
shit.
Yeah.
League, CS:GO, like
Yeah.
that was pretty much like
Yeah. It was esports. So yeah, I did have to do that. I had to transition to, this new style of content. And I actually, and then later on down the road, when Destiny, had a bit of a rough, it was really bad. When Destiny got awful.
I don't remember that.
So,
That's
Yeah. So, but later when that happened and I needed to, in order for like my survival, like my mental sanity, I needed to start introducing more games, and introducing variety was again like this huge battle with these entrenched viewers that were like, you only stream this game, and if you stream anything else, it means you hate the game that I love, which means you hate me and I hate you.
You owe me Borderlands.
It's literally
You
like
owe
that.
it to me.
Yeah, it was Borderlands. You owe me Borderlands, and then it's you owe me Destiny. And I just like it used to bother me, but now, as a benefit of being so busy, I literally don't have time to think about it. So like when somebody is really shitty, I'm like, if I could care,
Maybe
boy, I would care.
Yeah.
But I sure don't.
Yeah, maybe like 8 years ago I would say something, but like
Yeah. Well, it's like I feel, at least for me, I feel like I have done a lot with what I have been given. Not as much as I want to, but like with what I have, you know, my parents raised me to believe that every benefit that you have in life is something you should share with someone else. So like if you have advantages in your life, you should do everything in your power to give those advantages to anyone who doesn't have them. And so I thought, okay, I have a voice, I have a platform. What do I want to do with this? And one of the outflows of that sort of internal conversation was GCX and the charity marathon. Another one was, you know, following my passion for coffee, like you pointed out. That's why it came into my head. And then we started talking about how we could structure the company. And Pete and Wayne have done such a good job sourcing from, you know, incredible small farms. You know, some of the farms that we buy from are like 98% owned and operated by women. So we I believe that's the Columbia and Aztec. I might be wrong.
Columbia. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. So like we noticed that there's this other avenue where we can, you know, do, you know, good internationally, right? By supporting these people who are literally making it possible for like all of us to function in the morning. Like these women growing your coffee that you are drinking right now, like deserve a fair wage. They deserve to be able to, you know, educate their kids, feed their family, have healthcare, all that stuff. And so we work with farms and locations that you know have a proven track record of like that's the way they use their funds, right? It's owned by the farmers, not owned by like another company. That's what we try to do. Yeah. So you know everything that we do is, it's sort of, in my mind, I always want to make sure that no matter what business we're building or what we're doing, we're making the world a better place alongside of it. Because if you don't have that guiding principle, you just end up making some sort of monstrosity of a company or movement, because it all it is about like you and making you more important or your group more important or like whatever. But if you're not trying to improve the lives of everyone around you, and if you're not trying to take whatever advantages you have in your life and give them to people who don't have them, it's hard to make the world a better place. So, you know, I would.
God damn,
Yeah.
I'm motivated as hell after that.
Yeah.
Like,
If only
I'll run through this wall.
if only everyone shared your same beliefs.
I have very wise parents.
Sounds like it.
I cannot claim any of this wisdom to be solely my own. I just, you know, accepted it as true because it is true, and it does make the world a better place. Yeah. So, there's my inspiration from my past.
Was AGDQ like kind of the only kind of charity event kind of work stuff you did with Borderlands?
Yeah. Well, shit. Well, we've done other stuff. So like GCX, we went back to this old community idea that would happen like annually from the Borderlands forums. Corey King-Gathalion was like a moderator on the Borderlands forums before he started streaming. So like there was this really strong connection there, and they did this event every year called The Hunt, which was like this really fun scavenger hunt. You start a new character, you try to get every legendary in the game, and it sucks because, you know, you're not in control of anything. You know, like the people that you're racing against.
Punishing run.
Yeah, the people that you're like racing against, they'll kill some boss who's like a 1 in 10,000 drop chance. Look at the first fucking try. You're there 3 days, like, you know. So, but we took the hunt and we added some charity components into that. But yeah, AGDQ was sort of the only place where I did Borderlands and speedrunning for like charity because and I want to say this, I say this a lot, but I want to say thank you to Mike Uyama, who runs AGDQ, and Rom Scout. Both of them, like, I was fucking nobody, right? Like, I was the Borderlands speedrunner who was one of 4 people, and like, I was doing like this really short Surgeon Simulator speedrun, and then there's these fucking, you know, deities of speedrunning. Fucking Trihex is there. And, you know, like all like, yeah, like watching him. Just an aside, watching Trihex like warm up and then speedrun and like the just the care that he takes of his, like, not just like his body, but like the way he approaches speedrunning it's like watching a prize fighter approach a match. It's fucking incredible. So people like, you know, Trihex are there. Where it is like
Cosmo was probably there doing Ocarina. Like, that's a legendary event. Like, that's legendary.
There's these people who have these superhuman levels of skill, and I'm just there because like we have a hilarious fuck around run. But Mike and Rom Scout, like when I would ask them questions, or Uranium Anchor, or any of the people who work behind the scenes, how does this work? Why do you do it like this? Like, where's the money going? Like, how does the money get funneled here? Like, what are these servers for? I was just so fucking curious about the nuts and bolts, and every single one of those people answered my questions. And because they answered my questions, they took time to educate me because I was just curious. When we went to do our first charity marathon on Twitch, I had this framework. I already understood how everything kind of functioned in a physical space, and so the only thing we had to do was adapt it to online, and it went really well. We raised $500,000 the first year, but none of that would have happened without all of those people being so kind to me. So you never know, like, maybe that annoying ass kid that won't stop bothering you, like, you know, maybe they'll actually do something with the information that you tell them.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's that peek behind the curtain, like you kind of said, that helped lead you to where you were, and also gave you a little like heads up and like a little more knowledge on something, especially like running that event. I can't even imagine all the stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah, Mike and everyone at the GDQ events, you know, they learned some hard lessons like the first few years when it comes to like, how do you work with the charity directly, and like how do you manage the money between you and the charity so that like it all works out. Things are much simpler now, but like there were some really like weird institutional problems that they sort of had to work through to even get the money to the place where it needed to go. So I'm very thankful at how much easier things are now. You know what I mean? Now that we have cool websites like Tiltify and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So quickly, we'll touch on some stuff, but you did vaguely mention that you got 2 bachelor's degrees. I'm interested why. So I'm assuming you got one and then decided.
Hey, 2 more than me.
I actually did a dual course of study. So I got 2 bachelor's degrees at the same time.
Okay. And what were those in?
Bible and intercultural and urban ministry.
Oh,
wow. That's not what I would have said.
I wasn't expecting that answer at all, remotely.
No one ever does.
Oh, I went to business and business marketing, and then, you know, threw a little bit of
accounting.
Yeah. So that, and then the master's program I dropped out of, I was in seminary. Okay. To just sort of, you know, zoom past all that, because everyone always wants to know, well, what changed? Well, first of all, I'm pretty sure everyone in the situation is happy that things changed, right? Like, you probably enjoyed my content. I'm here. Yeah. We're doing lots of good in the world. Done. So like it's unequivocally, whatever caused that is okay. You know, like sometimes in your life you experience really fundamental change in the way that you view the world, and I think that it is important to be brutally honest with yourself when that happens, even if it sort of makes you uncomfortable. And you know, I'm not saying that the path I went through is the same thing for everyone. I have a deep obviously, because I spent 8 years studying it. I have a deep respect for Christianity and all that stuff, or what anyone wants to believe. But obviously that changed in my life along my journey. But I'm not ungrateful for that past experience. I feel like it taught me to think very deeply about problems. It exposed me to a lot of things about the world that I didn't really realize. The inequalities that existed. The school that I went to for my bachelor's program, they were very, very focused on meeting people where they were at instead of going there and saying like, I am right, listen to me. It was like, I took I'll never forget this. I took an agriculture class where we learned how to we planted and grew like an entire field of crops. And I asked my professor, I was like, why are we doing this? He said, well, if you're going to somewhere where food is scarcity, no one's going to give a shit about anything you have to say until they have food. So if you show up and you can run a farm for them, and you can grow them food, and you can help build this rapport and actually make people's lives better, then they might give a shit what you have to say. And like that concept has set very heavily on me. I believe that you have to, at least for me, I have to prove my value to somebody before I ask for anything, even for them to listen to me. In a context where I'm trying to have like a philosophical debate. So, but I mean, like that's the way that we approach the charity marathon. I want everyone to see the proof in the action, not just in the speech. Words are always empty. Like you always have to show people what you mean. So that's kind of my that's why I have 2 bachelor's degrees. But it was tough. It was really hard.
I imagine.
The college I went to had like an 8-point scale. So like anything under a 70 was an F or something like that.
Yeah, those are the dumbest.
Yeah. Which is like pretty normal.
Crazy.
That's pretty normal for like master's level stuff, like master and doctoral stuff. You're supposed to be there because you understand and know all the information.
You're a master.
Yeah,
at this
exactly.
craft.
Yeah. If you're not good, if you're not getting at least 70s, like you don't belong here. But undergraduates a little different. But they didn't care. They wanted you to know the information. So yeah, I mean, I did a lot while I was attending that school. I wrote like a fucking 200 page paper once.
Let's say 600. I won't tell anyone.
Let's say 6. No, it was 2. I'm not gonna lie. It was a 200 page paper parsing every single Greek word in Acts 2 and Acts, I think 18.
What's your favorite Greek word?
Oh man, fuck.
There's so many.
I actually never had one. Everyone like was like, what's this one? And I was like, everyone's like, I like the love ones.
Yeah.
I don't have one. I really don't have one. Yeah.
Well, I'd say if I've learned anything though from what you've been talking about, I would say that despite those 8 years, whatever, and you saying that you took a different path, I would say in some regards you didn't. Maybe it wasn't
exactly.
Directly in perhaps a religious manner, but at the heart of any religion really is helping people and being nice to others and all those foundations, and that's what you're doing, just not in that specific. And I would argue too that the way you're doing it might even be better because you're being able to help people without trying to, like you said, build a rapport, have them listen to you, because a lot of people are standoffish. So instead, you're just like, let me help you. Yeah.
Exactly.
And so if anyone doubts why you changed your path, I would argue you didn't really. I think you're doing great stuff.
The path you're supposed to be on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still the same person. That was a long journey for me to understand that myself personally. But yeah, I mean, religion, and I definitely, I definitely adhere to the concept that it is inspiration for aspiration. These are stories that we hear. They are culturally relevant. They are taught to us from the youngest ages. They're about people and things that matter and do things that change the world. And these stories inspire us to be better versions of ourselves. And I know for a fact I would not be the same person without that past, without, having been inspired so greatly. So it's really cool that you point that out. Thank you.
Well, I just
Usually
in case
I
you
have
need
to make
hear
that
it.
point, but you made a point. It was fucking great.
Maybe you needed to hear it, but perhaps
I definitely did.
these audio listeners need to hear this ad real quick.
Dude, that was a great
Whoa.
segue. That's probably our best segue ever.
Hey,
Oh my god!
hey, off the cuff.
If you're still using one of the big wireless providers this year, take a listen. Have you asked yourself, what are you really paying for? Between expensive retail stores, inflated prices, and hidden fees, you're being taken advantage of because they know you'll pay for it. Enter Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile provides the same premium network coverage you're used to, but at the fraction of the cost because everything is online. Mint Mobile saves you on retail locations, overhead, then passes those savings on directly to you. I mean, think about it. You don't have to walk into some store. You don't have to pay some outrageous fees. It's crazy. Mint Mobile's the best. They sent me a few cards and it's been amazing. They helped me find exactly the plan that I was looking for. With Mint Mobile, stop paying for unlimited data you'll never use. Choose between plans of 3, 8, or 12 gigabytes of 4G LTE data. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month. Yes, 15. I used to pay 86. Get the plan shipped directly to you for free. Go to mintmobile.com/GG. That's mintmobile.com/GG. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/GG.
Hey, welcome back to the podcast, guys.
Hey, hi. Hey, hi, how are you? First off, so we've been talking about all this cool stuff. And it's relevant because right now the GCX charity stream,
Yes.
charity-thon, whatever you'd like to call it.
Charity marathon.
Yeah, is going
For lack of
on
a better term. Yeah.
right now.
As we speak.
And this is
You can
the
tune in at this second and see it.
fifth year?
This is our 5th year. This is our 5th event fundraising. I don't know if it's exactly our 5th year. It might be like 4.5.
The 5th was you were like at Goth's house, right? And you were just kind
It
of
was the
streaming
bars,
there
wasn't it?
there was but this is definitely our 5th fundraising stream.
Okay.
We did 1 year before that. But that was sort of I don't think it wasn't for charity. That was just sort of like that was the thing. That was just like a thing that happened.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
again, it was something that sort of informed our choices going forward. Like, well, so that got out of control. How
many people showed up at that bar? Like when
1,000.
That's insane.
We rented out enough room for 250 people.
Do you want to give a sort of a
Firefighters
backstory
were probably having
for the
strokes.
Sure, yeah. So GCX started in a bar. We were gonna do a meetup in Florida, but we wanted as many people to come as possible. So we announced it like our usual stuff. We would say on Wednesday, like, come meet us on Friday for whatever. So this time we gave everyone a month lead time.
Oh,
Right? Well, yeah, because we wanted people to plan, and we thought
Yeah.
like maybe
people planned like
we're in Florida, right? Like we thought like maybe some people from Georgia would come down, like people from the Panhandle, like what the fuck ever, right? And then then
Nice one.
I think we noticed, or Goth noticed, that Leah Viathan, who used to be Leah Loves Chief on Twitch, and now she's Leah Viathan or whatever. I don't know.
I think it's just
can't keep
Leah
up.
now, right?
Just Leah? Just
Yeah,
Leah?
I think
who really knows?
That's what the voice in the back of my head was saying.
it is.
I was like, I think it's just Leah. So you should shut up.
You
Yeah,
have
so-
like an inner battle.
Yeah. So Leah was like coming from the UK, and she was going to be like, she was like, I could reroute my plans and I could be there for like a little bit. And then we had Miss Team KK, and then all of a sudden it went from being like 3 or 4 content creators to 40 content creators, coming from all over the place,
Calling their fjords.
internationally, all over the US. And we ended up having like 1,000 people show up at the bar, and it was fucking crazy.
What kind of time around this is like this is Destiny 1? Is this like what expansion?
Man.
Like
This fuck.
are we like House of Wolves?
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
like-
right around then.
Right around
Like it's
then.
very early.
Yeah.
Or maybe 6 months after Destiny came out. 7 months, something like that. Very close.
Mm-hmm. Prime, like the
Prime. Yeah, and then like the next 2 weeks later, we were all sitting at the bar, and Corey says, "What if we do that again, but like an actual convention?" what if we made like DestinyCon? And so
just like writes it on a napkin.
For those of you, I mean, it felt a lot like that.
Yeah.
And for those of you that have really great memories, you'll know that Destiny Community Con was originally billed as DestinyCon, but then
I'm sure
Bungie
is
we
going.
were told, we were kindly guided in another direction by Deej.
Just a little.
Deej has, and like just a side note, Deej has gone to bat for us to advocate for us and what we have been trying to do with the community and what we were trying to do.
Bungie's involvement is so cool.
Yeah. And so it's come full circle from the like, hey guys, to them coming, sending representatives to them actually being part of the show 2 years running, handing out all of the world first raid belts there with the big show. The evolution of that is pretty crazy. So we were sitting at the bar. What if we did DestinyCon? And we decided to do it. And we decided to sell shirts as tickets. Big fucking mistake.
Yeah. My shirt a ticket.
Is my shirt a ticket?
That's like such a big meme now.
Yeah. It's poor Kevin. So, and then we had to turn away 2,000 people that first year. We had space for.
I'll never forget. There was I remember that. Like coming out and like seeing, I was like, I was shocked. That's when like for me, I got so nervous. Like that.
We felt like shit. Like we were like, God, we have to make it bigger next year. But again, like we did all of this off of the ticket sales, right? Like so we were running on like a razor thin budget the entire time. Pretty much all of the money the first 2 years from the shirt sales and the ticket sales went right back into the event. Like nobody was taking like a modicum of compensation. Because we just wanted to get it off the ground and we weren't gonna like
I mean, you have to.
Fucking go to a bank and be like, hey, so let me tell you about everything you don't understand and why you should give us a loan. We were never going to be able to have that option. So we ran everything off of that. And we say every year, anyone who buys a ticket is a part of making the event happen. Like now we have like larger sponsors and people who buy space on the floor and things like that. But the first 3 years, if nobody bought a ticket, the event wouldn't fucking happen. That was it. That was the gamble that we took every year. And let me tell you about the anxiety. Yeah. Oh my God, dude.
I couldn't even imagine.
Like, oh man, we were like doing daily check. Like how many more tickets do we have to sell to make sure that like,
well, and then like on top of that, you got to make sure
bounce. Like,
and like the content creators are going to try and come too. Like you got scheduling all of that too. It's just like,
yeah. And so that's the physical event. Right. And then on the other side, we have this charity marathon. And like we were talking about before, we started recording, but like the charity marathon started because Corey said, what if we did an event? And we were like, yeah, cool. And then I said, even more stupidly, because I was like, I could probably do this. What if we do a charity marathon? And little did I know that statement would turn into like a job description title that's tagged into my goddamn Twitter profile, right? Like I didn't start it out being like, I'll be a great charity director. It was more like, well, I'm the only person doing it, so I guess that's my title.
I have some like ideas, I know what
pretty cool, guys.
To do.
Yeah, so this is the first year for the charity marathon that putting it together didn't involve me personally DMing over, well, I'll say I personally DM'd over 70 content creators every year, almost, and then personally managing 42 conversations, because that's how many blocks there are. Personally managed 42 DM conversations, gathering 42 different content creators' assets, getting 42 different content creators' permissions, and getting them all into one Discord channel, and then getting them to coordinate. And I did that all by myself.
Let me tell you something, too. As a content creator, they are not very easy to get a hold of or like talk to.
We're terrible at it.
Plan or like anything like that. It's awful. It's really hard.
Yeah, and we've gone through so many iterations of trying to put the marathon together. The most anxiety ridden time I had setting it up, I think, was year 2, when I was like, man, year 1 was a mess. So what I'm gonna do is, and you're gonna laugh, I'm gonna get a hold of all these people way ahead of time, so that way they commit, and then they won't forget about it.
There's your first mistake.
Did they forget?
Did they forget?
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was my fault. So we've learned stuff, but you learn stuff on the way, right? Like,
Exactly.
you think that this might be a better way to do things.
I mean, it's
And-
like the thought process is reasonable. Like, well, if I
Yeah.
tell them this, and then, but it doesn't
you
always
just
work
follow
like
the,
that.
you have to follow the idea to its conclusion point, right? Like, I'm not like, because what if that was the way to do it, right?
Mhm.
It's at this point, it obviously wasn't, but like, that was really stressful, but the end result was just so powerful. I believe that if you want the world to be a better place, or if you want to change people's minds, you should absolutely be vocal. You have to talk about it. You have to say, you have to point, and you have to say, this is wrong. I don't like this, whatever the fuck. In the same way, if you can aid that conversation by taking action, right? I hated the fact that every time I would turn on the news and something bad would happen, one of the cycled arguments was video games make people awful. Video games make people do these terrible things. And so I said, that's not true. I know it's not true. How can I prove it? Charity marathon. Our hashtag is hashtag gaming does good. That is because gaming does do good. It's not like a lie. It's not like fucking pretty. And we thought like it'll trend. We thought this is a true statement. We're going to make this our hashtag. Because when people talk about the event, they will not be able to leave out this hashtag because it's ours. So it injects linguistically the conversation about gaming doing good things into every conversation about the event. Now, the hope in the beginning was we will do this thing and everyone will be able to point to it every year. Every time someone says video games tear people apart, fuck people up, and make them lonely, we'll be able to say, look at this gigantic community getting together and literally saving lives. And they're all doing it because of video games. It's a tremendous and irrefutable counterpoint because it is factual.
Yeah.
So the thing that I am the most proud of that we've done with the charity marathon is we have hopefully given everyone in the gaming space one more opportunity every year to say, look at what we can do together.
Yeah.
And something looking forward, something that we have learned is there are a lot of charities that would love to operate in the online space. But they just kind of don't really know how to do it the right way.
It's hard to break into
the same way that we didn't know how to do it the right way, right? Like 5 years ago. So one of the things that we kind of actively pursue at the company now is we try to find, eligible charities or interested charities that want to get into the space. And we have meetings with them. And we try to educate them into like a place where they can make an informed decision about whether or not they should care about live streaming. Some charities really shouldn't,
It's not for everybody.
Yeah. Not every charity is not every charity is going to be in need of a gigantic charity marathon, but there's no reason that, like, let's say your local dog shelter is you care more about that than anything. Well, that local dog shelter should probably know that they need to have like a PayPal account set up and like a few other things. So that way anyone who comes in and like, let's say that's where you found your dog and like, you're a super famous streamer and now you want to make sure that like you pay for this, shelter's budget for the year.
Yeah.
You can do that, but the charities have to know the right things to do to be lined up with that. So that's kind of one of the things that we're working on, like on a larger scale right now.
I mean, I know for us, I speak for all three of us, like the GCX stream is huge for us. Like it's something that like we all three of us totally look forward to every year.
We're so happy to have it.
And before, like every time before we go, it's seriously like I don't get as nervous as I do before any other stream besides the GCX stream. I don't know why I get so nervous because it's just so awesome. And it's just a great way. It's just awesome. And it's my favorite time of the year. Seriously, it's so awesome.
You weren't there, obviously, after we finished our first one because it was just Rob Blue and I, like in the
I have
voice
never
channel.
felt more like
we were all just like,
wow,
I ended the stream and we're just like,
jeez.
What did we raise the first? Like, what? Like,
92,000 or something like that, I think. and we
Yeah,
were
something like that.
we were just like
Yeah,
we're
it
just
was like-
dudes making videos on the internet.
It was that was like the first time it hit me. It was like, this is like a lot bigger than just like playing video games or something. Like, it was just like, I felt like I had like made like an impact on like just the world. It just felt like bigger than me for a second. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that it's so awesome to hear. I mean, that's our goal. Like, by design, we want everyone to feel that way. Whether you're I mean, like, look, last year was the first time I say it. I said it privately while we were talking, but this is, I mean, I'll say it publicly. Like, this is the first year it really feels like that the event is so big that it isn't entirely in our control. And not like we don't make decisions about it or like whatever the troll wants to say, but like, you know, this year when we were getting everyone involved in the charity marathon, I simply, like, I would ask people. We worked with bigger organizations, you know, Bungie's on the schedule, things like that. But those conversations this year were really like, okay, you know, what can we do to help you? Oh, I've watched enough of your charity streams. Like, I really know what to do. Or like, we'll have like a 10-minute meeting to sort of clarify something. And then people will just show up fully prepared, like decked to the teeth with like amazing incentives. And for me, I used to have to like football that stuff every single person down the field, right? And I was lucky if there was like 2 or 3 people every day that were like, oh no, I got it, don't worry about it. And now it's just like people say yes, and then I don't need your help, I got it, which is awesome. The thing that I tell everybody in the DM, because everybody always asks me questions, and I'll say, look, I need your time, and the show is yours. It is your show. You run it the way you want. We have like best practices, but like, I don't know how to tell someone else how to run their fucking stream.
That's awesome about it. Like, you're not hands off, but you're also just like, you understand that like it's a streamer streaming, because you're also a streamer, so you get it. Like, you understand.
It's art, right? Like, I'm like, if you have an artist in front of you and whatever their tool is to create art, like, you don't really need to do anything else. You can just fucking sit there, right?
Well, I think like most charities, like if they saw Christian talking really fast, and they'd be like, how is that going to make any money? And then Christian just talks really fast and makes $30,000 because he talks really fast while he's reading the donations. It's not like you didn't chokehold him and say, no, don't do that. Like, just play the game. Like, it's really cool.
We really want, it's a celebration of community, and people choose to people choose to be parts of these communities where they watch every day, right? Whether it's on YouTube, whether people are tuning in every day on YouTube or listening to a podcast, this relationship that we build with our viewers, it's a relationship based on trust. And that trust is why events like this are successful. And so I've always felt like on the organizational side, it's very disingenuous for me to say, I trust you so much to be part of this event, but I'm going to micromanage your broadcast. You know, so other than like advising on milestones or saying any like, I think the first year we hit $1 million, like we had a milestone. I was like, I really want to try everyone, like, please put this number in front of people for every block. You know, other than like really general guidelines, it's always about, well, what do you think you can do? What does a great charity show look like for you? Because especially now that we have this wonderful platform for fundraising that we built over all these years, every time we bring in new communities, it's a new group of, you know, potentially millions of fucking people that have never heard about the good work that St. Jude does. So it's got this exponential spidering effect.
Yeah.
And our long-term goal is to have the gaming space provide 10% of the annual budget necessary to operate St. Jude, which is about $120 million. But the gaming space is a $150 billion a year industry. So there's money around, and it's just about empowering people, and empowering developers, and challenging the way things have been done in the past, encouraging people to be involved with charity. And we can get there. And the thing is, St. Jude needs us to get there. one of the problems that they face is that St. Jude is an older charity. They just celebrated their 60th year, and you know, charities get old, but so do people. And unfortunately, when Grandma and Pop pass away, most of the time their support for St. Jude does as well. So it is imperative in my mind, not only that we reach out in the gaming space because it is relatively new, but it is also an age group that is sizable enough and powerful enough and passionate enough to take up this, you know, this challenge, this need that St. Jude has for, you know, all of these funds to essentially get replaced as people age out of being able to donate. So that's why we have such a lofty goal. I don't believe that we are going to accomplish it ourselves, but I do believe that by saying it publicly over and over and over again, hopefully the people, enough people in the gaming, hopefully enough people in the gaming space will go, I want to support a charity. I'll do St. Jude just because like it's what we do. Right.
That's literally like how I think about it. Like, it's just, I support St. Jude. Like, that's just how it is. Cause that's what I've been streaming for. And it's just awesome. Like I love it.
It's really, really great. So yeah, that's our big, that's my big high-minded idea speech.
Well, then, speaking of which, why don't you briefly, because I know a lot of people have heard that name, St. Jude's.
Sure.
Or St. Jude. I believe they don't want the plural, right?
St. Jude. It's St. Jude, yeah.
St. Jude. A lot of people have heard the name, but not too many people are familiar with what exactly they do or what exactly like a big question is always, okay, this money's going to St. Jude. What exactly is that money going to do?
Sure.
And Rob and I got to go to the campus, was that 2 or 3 years ago, and we got to firsthand see.
Really, seriously.
We got to see where the money was going, but everybody else who's donating doesn't necessarily get to see that. So,
right.
If you could maybe enlighten some people.
Yeah. So St. Jude Children's Research Hospital was founded by Danny Thomas, who was like a mid-level actor back 60 years ago. He had some moderate success in like a sitcom or something else. And he leveraged his connections with celebrities and you know, wealthy people to build this hospital called St. Jude. And it's called St. Jude because St. Jude is the patron saint of lost causes. And when they founded the hospital, it was medically accepted. It was the medically accepted practice when a child got diagnosed with cancer to send that child home with their family and make them comfortable, because there would be no cure and there was no point in making that child miserable for the rest of its life, the rest of its short life. Danny Thomas, and like saying that now, even saying that, like it's horrifying, right?
Feels so gross.
It feels gross. So Danny Thomas saw the way the things were and said, I don't like that. So he started a hospital, and the hospital it sounds like a dream. It sounds crazy. But he founded this hospital. Some of the first donors are names of people you know, like Frank Sinatra. You know, these people came together and helped start this hospital where no family would ever receive a bill. They would receive the best care available. And it would be a research hospital, so that not only could they treat what is happening right now, they could discover cures in the future. So, I mean, and there are some other really amazing things. I mean, they have always treated patients from all over the world, regardless of race, religion, creed, country of origin, whatever. Their fundamental belief is like, these kids have cancer and they didn't do anything wrong. So we will accept them. We will accept their family. We will accept everyone, because it is wrong that children are dying from cancer. So you fast forward to now, St. Jude, they do a lot. So I'll hit you with the tagline first, and then I'm going to hit you with the things that I think are incredibly unique and important. No family ever receives a bill from St. Jude. If you were to get diagnosed with, if you had a child that was diagnosed with cancer tomorrow, the only thing that you would need to do would be to go see a doctor and have that doctor give a recommendation to go to send you to St. Jude. If you can't go to the doctor, they have a phone line that you can call. and they will figure it out with you. If you are diagnosed with one of the forms of cancer that they're studying, because it is a research hospital, you and your family will be flown there from wherever you live in the world. You will be housed there for the duration of your treatment. You will receive continued education that is focused on the curriculum that you were studying back at your school. Your parents will be assisted in finding jobs if they wish, or they can simply live with you and do the important work of loving a child who is going through a catastrophic disease. And all of this happens and nobody receives a bill. You get flown there for free, you get housed for free, you get treated for free, and you get post care for free. That's something that they do. Like, they follow up on all of their treatment protocols. There are people who are coming back to St. Jude that got treated 20 years ago. They're 40 years old, but they're still following up. How is this person doing at 40 when they had this rare form of cancer at 5? This is the kind of stuff that they do. And it's not like free medicine. This is world-class medicine. This is St. Jude operates 24 hours a day. They have the best doctors that any hospital can afford. Because these patients deserve the best treatment. They're part of the Global Pandemic Response Network. They are one of 6 sites globally that handles it handles all of the information in this network around the world that is monitoring for pandemic emergence. I've had the opportunity to talk to some of their doctors that work in the infectious disease department, and you know, they told me they have like SARS, like all that stuff, H1N1, every pandemic you've ever heard of, like growing up. They were part of the response. They were part of like typing out the genome for it. They're part of developing a vaccine. They're the clearinghouse for the flu vaccine every year. It is arguable that their work on the flu vaccine every year has saved more lives than their work on cancer, because the flu is so pervasive and it kills so many people, especially in countries that have really, really poor medical infrastructure or no medical infrastructure at all. They share all of their research for free. So it is a research hospital, which means that there are PhD students and there are people who have PhDs that are doctors that have been working there for a long time. All of their medical research is published for free and is available out there for free for anyone to use. All research inside the facility is shared, so everyone is working on the same stuff. There's no like division. Well, there's like division of labor, but there's no... One of the research scientists said it like this. When they worked outside of St. Jude, everyone's research was under lock and key in a safe. Nobody locks up their research at St. Jude. And they publish a paper from the research hospital, one paper, doctoral level paper, every 11 hours.
Wow. That's crazy.
And those, I mean, if you're familiar with academia, like that takes 2 years to write one of those. It is absolutely
just around
incredible.
the clock.
Yeah. I learned very recently, like they have their own on-site immunology and vaccine lab. So when you're treating a kid with cancer, their immune system will degrade. Obviously, you're hitting them with tons of chemotherapy, you're knocking out all their white blood cells, so they're very vulnerable to infection. And so on site, they have this facility that can manufacture these vaccines, these antibiotics, and they are literally giving custom medicine to these patients, custom antibiotics, custom vaccines, or whatever they need to design for the treatment protocol to manage these infections. This is the kind of medicine that the future is going to be like, and they are literally doing it right now. They're working on COVID-19 right now. Obviously, they're part of the Pandemic Response Network, right? Like they have the ability to like get an idea, make a vaccine, test it out, all in-house. It's fucking insane. Like, yeah. I mean, like it's
not a lot of
crazy.
people.
And this is a tiny aspect of everything. Like I could
that they do.
Yeah, and I could go into their patient life specialists. Like everyone, like I said, your education is continued. Someone at the hospital is going to contact your teachers back in your hometown, get your homework, prepare it for you, and teach it to you.
Well, and it's like you said, like it can be as grand as finding vaccines, and it can just be as small as like I think there's a story that like a patient really liked the way their grandma made macaroni and cheese.
Yep.
So the chef specifically like asked the grandma what she did to make the macaroni and cheese. So it's like it's from that grand thing of vaccine all the way down to something as small as a mac and cheese for one of the kid patients. It's really cool.
I'll share this because we have a couple videos we produced. I got a chance to talk to the head of the infectious disease department at St. Jude, Dr. Torumanen, I think.
Nailed it.
I apologize if I said your name wrong.
He's a big viewer. Well, loves the podcast.
She.
My apologies.
Oh, Rob.
So she was kind enough to talk to us, but I asked her, I said, what as a doctor, what makes St. Jude special? And I was and she did talk about all of these medical, these incredible, like, she called it Manhattan Project. Like, it feels like you can do anything here. You're changing the world. But you're doing all this, but the thing that she said was so special was sitting in the cafeteria with the patients that you're working for. You have this like, and that blew my mind. Like that, this incredibly accomplished, like, doctor, the head of this department in one of the best research hospitals in the world. And the thing that is special is sitting down and eating with the patients. That is what makes St. Jude special, is that it is everything is truly connected. Everything they care. Every little aspect, from how it feels when you walk in to, they have a giant, they do proton beam therapy, which means they accelerate a proton to 99% of the speed of light and then 3D print it into, onto somebody's brain cancer. Yeah. But it's scary. They had to put it 3 stories underground. And so, like, you're basically telling this scared kid to go into this cave and then go into a smaller cave, and it's terrifying. So what do? Well, they decorate the entire place like it's a jungle, like it's a rainforest. And as these kids are walking down to get their therapy, the steps are playing music for them, so that it's a calming experience. So that going down these steps, descending 30 feet into the ground, a horrifying experience for any young child, is this like delightful, enjoyable moment so that they can receive the therapy that they need without being riddled with stress and anxiety. Yeah.
And they try and give them some normalcy, like, too.
Yes.
Like, they also just try and make them feel like a normal kid. And that is like one of the coolest thing there too, is every detail is looked at.
You've all been there. And so the first time I went, I was like, oh man, this is going to be depressing. Because, and there's definitely moments there where you see, a 3-year-old patient being wheeled around in a red wagon, without hair, and they're all wired up to IVs. And that is heartbreaking. What is crazy about that moment to me is you see things like that, but you look at the parents, and in my childhood, like, my family had a lot of health problems. I know what it looks like when mom and dad are very worried about how they're going to pay for the thing that's going to maybe save your life. And that look does not exist there. These parents are 100% focused on their kids and their kids' well-being and loving them, instead
and they're there
of
in the moment.
worrying. Yes, they're
there.
doing what every parent who has a child with cancer should be able to do, and that is take care of your kid. Be there for them, hold them when they're sad, feed them, whatever, because it's a catastrophic thing that's happening to these families. But the parents walk around with hope on their face. with this sense that
They have hope.
I am in the best place in the world for this, for whatever is happening to me, and I believe that it can get better here. And that's just not something that you are used to seeing in a hospital.
You can't put a dollar sign on that. Like that's what I say.
No.
You really can't. And that's like $1, $2, $5, anything. I don't care if we're not streaming and you click on the link below and you go and check the stream out. Give what you can. It really the times I've been there are incredible. And it's awesome.
Yeah. It is.
And that's the important thing about sharing stuff like that is I'm sure most people didn't know a quarter of that, and much less not being able to hear more personal experiences and seeing it. You brought up earlier about, like maybe somebody helping out, they got a dog from a local shelter and they want to help out their shelter. It can be so important too to introduce people to charities and helping people in their community because they're able to see it firsthand.
So much.
And then that can translate into something else, right? So that's why like there could be that disparity between somebody in St. Jude and maybe they don't quite have that same connection. But once they're able to see something like that impact somebody in their own life, they can realize they can do that too elsewhere without having to be there.
Yeah.
That is. Yes. You get it. You get it. Yes.
I mean, you guys are doing great stuff.
This is our pleasure and honor for sure.
Truly, like one of my dreams, like because I was supposed to be like this big soccer person, but like I've always thought like being like a kids make a wish thing like was the most amazing thing that you could do. And like GCX like gives me a chance to like live out that dream. So like I thank you for like letting me be able like to do that. So it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Well,
You know what else is awesome and a little less heavy?
Yes.
Sure.
This ad read.
Here we are. It's the world 2020. You look around you, things are getting faster. Things are getting better. And most of all, things are getting cheaper. But before you go dropping $100 on a pair of earbuds, why don't you check out the wireless earbuds from Raycon? Their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, are the best ones yet. 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and more compact design that gives you a nice noise isolating fit. Raycon's wireless earbuds are so comfortable, perfect on the go and listening, and for taking phone calls. I used to jog every morning with AirPods, and then they just kept falling out. And then honestly, I put in my Raycons, and they have not once fallen. I honestly forget that I'm wearing them sometimes. Our listeners and viewers today, now's the time to get the latest and greatest from Raycon. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/GG. That's buyraycon.com/GG for 15% Raycon wireless earbuds. buyraycon.com/GG.
And welcome back to the GG Over Easy podcast. Now, we've talked about all this amazing charity work, the stream itself. Should also be noted that, like we mentioned, we, the Dream Team, have participated in it, and we will be participating in it this year as well. In fact, that's why this podcast is coming out at a bit of a weird date, because we want to make sure it gets out in time for those that maybe don't know that we do this or didn't know about this, could maybe tune in during our block or somebody else's block, because how long is the stream going until? What date?
It's going until Sunday, next Sunday. So Sunday the 20th,
The
21st. Sunday the 21st. Oh, I gotta look at my phone. This is how the
That sounds
dates are
about right.
Sunday the 21st at noon.
So
is,
at any
when
point
it will be over. Yeah.
You could tune in, help, or, that doesn't even have to be the case. If maybe this podcast has helped you do anything, maybe it's stirred you a little bit, maybe that's not your calling. Maybe again, like maybe something more local, but being able to introduce, maybe you have a kid that's interested or something, or you want to tell your parents you're interested in doing something like this, they can set up something more locally. Or after all this, you can even give to St. Jude. It doesn't have to be during the charity event. However, if you are interested or just want to tune in, we will be on live on the GCX stream on June 19th, which is Friday, which might not make sense if you're listening to this later, but June 19th is a Friday. And we'll be doing it from noon to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. GMT. I don't actually know what that stands for.
We'll have it on the screen for you.
I think that's somewhere in Europe, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like... Yeah.
So if you want to tune in, that's when you'll be able to do that. We'll be doing some fun stuff. We'll be having fun. We'll have our own incentives. So feel free to tune into that. If you're so inclined, we'd appreciate that. And with that, I believe we have some Patreon questions.
We do. This question is from Sir Champ. He says, "I'm in the early stages of organizing a fundraising event for multiple sclerosis in my local area. I was wondering if your multiple positive experiences with fundraising. If you had any tips of raising awareness to my event so that we can expect to raise a considerable amount for the cause. Also, thanks for everything that you guys are doing. Can't wait for the GCX stream." I think the best way to raise awareness is just going through your local community, kind of just finding way. Like if there's like every local community has a Facebook, and you can find it somewhere, I'm sure, and just post it on there is what I would do.
Broman, use the internet to your advantage. I mean, everyone is connected nowadays, and that's one of the great blessings of being interconnected is you have bigger reach to everyone. So don't be afraid to reach out to everybody. Like, I mean, that's how everything great starts, right? You just reach out, and everyone's like, "That sounds tight," and then next thing you know, you have GCX and you're running a charity.
Yeah, that is very true.
It can be as simple as door to door, because the other thing too is you don't want to. It kind of sounds like you're wanting and expecting it to possibly be this grandiose thing that kind of explodes, and it might not be. And so, just in case it isn't, you shouldn't be disappointed. Anything is better than nothing. And so, just like think about Broman's stories he shared, it didn't start as big as it is now. It has to start somewhere. So maybe you do the fundraiser this go around, and you get X amount of interest. Well, next year you'll have that X amount of interest and more. Word of mouth will spread. You'll learn from your experiences, like Broman said. And so no matter how big the event is, one, the fact that you're doing it is a success. No matter what you raise is more than they were going to have. So just take the wins where you can get them, acknowledge that you're doing a great thing, and just do your best.
Yeah. I completely agree with everything that was just said. But yeah, that was all I was going to really say was just manage your expectations and understand that the act of trying to do good is good in itself. Do your best, right? So, and that means, and the reason I like to say that is because it makes your result the same regardless of your outcome. If you crush it and it blows up, awesome. If it doesn't, you still did the best that you could, and you can learn, you can move forward. I hope that I've done a good job explaining all of the ways that we've fucked up planning things along the way. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to try new things, and remember that just because you are trying to do good, you're going the right direction. You should be proud of yourself for that at the end of the day, no matter what the monetary outcome is.
Well said. Next question is from Jelly. Blue, we'll start with you. What food do you hate and never understood why other people enjoy it? So you're gatekeeping food now.
Oh man,
that's difficult.
So many.
Okay, what food do I like that other people don't enjoy?
No. Other way around. That you hate
that I hate
other people enjoy.
Oh, that would have been the inverse. Would have been nice. Okay, that I hate, bro. Okay, can someone else answer? Because I have to really think about this. Because okay, this is like a really deep topic, and there's a lot of
he's taking it very seriously.
This is probably the deepest conversation we've had this whole.
Okay,
holy crap about food. I can go.
I can rapid fire. I can just name a few. I mentioned coffee, nuts, and onions. Those three, I feel like I get the biggest pushback on. Understandably so. I don't like any of them. Nope, I don't.
Onion gives so much flavor. Like
onion
need onion.
You eat onion whether you know it or not. Mr.
I know, and I know what onion can do. But the thing is, if it's big enough to where I know I'm eating onion.
Okay, like it's like a dice. Like
fair. I
guess that's fair. Even just like little chunks. Nope.
No.
Really. Take it off.
I guess that's fair.
And cheese on burgers. Nope.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
You're
and
weird,
I've got some hot takes on food,
weird.
man.
You're weird, dude.
I know.
Hurting me. Okay. Pickles.
Okay.
See, I'm halfway. I like a good crunchy pickle, but if it's like a thin bullshit like McDonald's McDouble pickle, ew. I hate
smell
those.
I start smelling pickles and I just want to puke.
Really?
Nothing about pickles do it for
I'm
you.
working on trying to be able to eat them because they're supposed to be really good for you and they're a great ingredient. And I have done better. I've been eating some pickles lately, but it's still
because Amy loves to cook. So
oh yeah, so like I can't really be like that. And that class of ingredient is just out. Everything. She's like everything pickled, and I was like, yeah. She goes, I don't fucking think so.
So you settled and you ate pickle.
No, yeah. Well, so she started making shit with me.
Yeah.
She sneak it in there.
Yeah. And then she goes,
and then she gave me.
How is it?
Did you like it?
And then you're like,
did you enjoy that? And I'm like, yeah, I did. She goes, you just ate pickles.
Oh no,
I've been played.
Yeah.
I guess mine are like like broccoli, cauliflower, like those kind of Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of people more so would agree with you. A lot of people are torn on vegetables.
I guess that I said steak. I don't like Broman's gonna hang me for this one. I don't get it. I don't.
We actually had this conversation. Yeah, last podcast.
Yeah, that like everybody loves steak, and like when we go to Guardian Con, everybody says go to Charlie's, and you're gonna crucify me for this. I don't order the chicken, but like I think a Charlie like it just is a steak. Like I get
it. If you don't like steak, I get it. It's tough to eat.
No, I just don't think it's as good as everybody makes it. I don't get why it's $80. Like, why am I paying $95 for a steak that's like, it's good, like it's a steak, but like, I just don't get it. That's probably mine is steak. I don't get it.
You know what? I'm not. Yeah, I mean, like, I like steak, but I understand why people don't like it.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be like butt wipe and order chicken when I'm at a steakhouse. Like, I'm not going to do that.
I really want to try elk, though. I've been told that apparently elk is just like a different level. That? I've heard it on Joe and other places. Like apparently elk is just something magical.
I've had like elk jerky before, but never.
I'm gonna go get my compound bow, dude, and I'm just gonna go out and hunt.
You're gonna go run some hills first, bud.
We'll do one last question from Ethan Stevenson.
My answer was papaya, by the way.
Papaya?
I don't know if anyone. I feel like I always, maybe it's just because of where I come from, but everyone always talks about how much they love papaya. And papaya is literally the most disgusting, rancid thing I will have ever eaten in my life.
What's the one where you guys like fry like a banana? Like my grandparents always do that one. And it's my family loves the fried banana, like with the fish. Like that
really
one, I don't get that one.
Well,
a fried platano. Like,
yeah, I mean, to each their own. I mean, in the same way that everyone in my family loves papaya, they would snort papaya through their nose if they could, and I cannot do that. I literally throw up at the smell of papaya. I can't do it. So I'm sorry if I've ever let anyone down, but I hate papaya. That is the worst.
I don't even know what they look like.
Don't talk to me.
So
they look delicious. They don't smell delicious.
I'll put you on the spot again here, because you love these kind of questions, and then you'll eventually pass it on. What is your favorite musical artist who's made music this century? Says Ethan Stevenson. Yeah, pretty like out there question.
I'm screwed.
Yeah,
this century.
Like this century would be 2000, right? Like, am I thinking that correctly?
So like formed formed this century or made music in general this century. Like
I would just say 2000 beyond.
Yes, I'll just say like 2000 and
so beyond. Like the band has to like their first release had to have been post 2000, right?
Yes.
That's an impossible question.
I get. MF Doom, I guess, would be mine. Like
he came out with stuff before 2000
in the 90s. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
When was man? Fuck.
This is an impossible question.
Yeah, most of the stuff I listen to is
Imagine Dragons, the greatest band of all time.
I had to Google some shit.
You got one?
Christian doesn't have any. He doesn't
Everything I listen to is pre 2000.
Everything you listen to is like pre 1920. Like
it's not true. Only some.
I have a couple of answers.
I honestly couldn't even tell you.
Narrow it down.
I'll just throw out 4 Years Strong. It's the only one I can think of.
Who?
4 Years Strong.
I don't know what that is. I gotta open up my Spotify. I got bangers. Let me open these things. Spotify.
Yeah. That's all I got.
I can tell you who I don't like. That list is easy.
Okay, yeah, I think I have a proper answer here. I mean, it's between two artists. Honestly, it's between which is like my favorite band, the Avalanches, and Kendrick. Between those two.
Those are good picks.
Oh fuck.
I don't think Jay Dilla released anything pre 2000, so maybe Jay Dilla. And if we're going like band, oh god, a band. See, part of me wants to go to like my old emo state. Like I love Slipknot and Korn and like all those kind of bands, and like I still listen to them to this day. And I always kind of like forget to mention those kinds of bands.
I'm pretty sure Slipknot and Korn had some stuff in the 90s though. At least Korn, I believe.
Iowa was. I think Iowa came out in like 99. I think. So yeah, you may be right. Thanks, fact checker guy over there in the corner.
That's me.
The needle drop.
Man, I'm Googling everything, and then now I have to make a decision.
Now.
This is fucking horse shit.
Ethan Stevenson demands it.
Poor Ethan. Man, it's tough. Like you said, Kendrick. I feel like Kendrick or Chance the Rapper. And everyone's light me up for this one. But I mean, like, if you want to talk, fuck, shit. Well, I mean, like, then shit, fuck, no, damn it, no, fuck.
It's impossible. This is the
that's my
question.
On the criteria.
That's
right?
my favorite band.
Right? Yeah.
I love
because then no, because like then I'm thinking about like, okay, well, if we're talking about like people who transform the music space, like fundamentally,
like Kanye,
you gotta bring up like T-Pain.
Oh. Like auto-tune?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna buy you a drink.
How underrated? Okay, maybe you could have an opinion on T-Pain's music, but like you hear T-Pain everywhere now.
People do not realize how much of the mid to late 2000s he wrote for them. Like
absolutely.
Like, dude, you know that someone is transformational when Jay-Z comes out and writes a song about how autotune is dead, making fun of you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, okay. Like T-Pain, T-Pain, I think for me, because like one, he's an awesome gamer. And tight. Two, he's a really nice guy.
Yep.
And three, like, I mean, he really did a lot of stuff to sort of change the space around him a lot. He introduced a lot of new sounds and introduced a lot of people to his music and went on to do even more. So I'll probably go with T-Pain because I'm a huge T-Pain fan.
Mad respect for that pick.
I really do respect that.
Yeah.
Somehow you made that deep.
That's how we got there. Well, I don't know, man, because I was going to say one thing, and then I was like, well, if I'm going to talk about impact, well, then maybe. And then I was, so we ended up at T-Pain.
I wish I could remember their names. I think there's like a documentary on them, but it's like 2 or 3 guys. I want to say it's like 2 Swedish guys or something that essentially have contributed to like literally 90% of every top chart song we've had in the past like 20 years.
Oh, wow.
They've helped write or beats. Yeah, like they literally work behind everyone. Like if you've heard a #1 song, odds are they worked on it somehow. Mm-hmm. I forget. There's like a whole documentary about it. I'm going to have to watch it again.
Well, they must work on this podcast because this podcast is probably one of the best. But unfortunately, we have to end it.
No.
So, Broman, we'd like to just wrap it up and tell people where they can find you on the internet. Sure. Where can people find you on the said internet?
I'm Professor Broman everywhere on the internet. But more importantly to me right now, I would love for you to go to twitch.tv/GCXEvent. Or if you're listening to this more than a week in the future, if you could just follow us at GCXEvent on Twitter so you can stay informed for all of the fundraising efforts that we're going to be doing every single year. And you'll have, another spot on your feed that you can point to where you can be like, look at all the good gaming does. That's great. That's nice little positive moments. That's what I would like. That's the most important thing for me. And I also would like to say thank you to all 3 of you for having me on today. And, letting me talk about some, serious shit.
For sure.
Hey, it was really awesome to hear. And I mean, it was inspirational, motivational to me. And
for sure, I needed it.
Yeah, I learned so much. And I mean, I think that's what we really wanted bringing you on is for people to really learn about not just about how important it is, but all the intricacies of what goes into GCX and what goes into St. Jude. And I mean, it's really important stuff for people to hear.
Thank you. I agree.
And if they're watching, I mean, they got some eye candy. So
yes.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, Blue?
You guys can find me everywhere at BlueWestlo, but also don't go to my page. Go watch the GCX stream, which is going on right now. People are raising money. So
you can find me at
you can find me there.
/GCX event. Is that what it is?
GCXEvent.
GCXEvent. Yeah.
There you go. That's where you can find me. Twitch.tv/GCXEvent.
And you can find us here on this podcast next week. Thank you very much for listening or watching. We appreciate you all. Have yourselves a fantastic week. Bye.